welcome to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is on your Monday Night Raw results and spoilers for Superstars. As usual, news and birthdays. Well, tonight's episode of Raw from Washington, D.C. was the 1100th episode. It was reported back in 2012 that Alex Riley lost his push after a backstage incident with John Cena, and that report it seemed to be confirmed by some released WWE stars in interviews since then. Several fans who watched Monday's WWE Raw pre-show noted that Riley paid tribute to Harry Doyle, an announcer in the legendary Major League movies. But Cena gave props to Riley on Twitter over the weekend for his Doyle tribute from last week. John Cena. Follow him on Twitter. Just watched Raw pre-show on the WWE Network at Alex Riley WWE. Unreal. Brilliant. Homage to one of my favorite at MLB movies. Hashtag Major League. Worth a watch. Former Total Divas cast member JoJo Offerman was doing ring announcing at Friday night's NXT live event in Lakeland, Florida. June 22nd, happy birthday to indie wrestlers Amber O'Neil, turned 38. Reliant Lee turned 31, and one-time IWGP Tag and Junior Heavyweight Tag Champion Tetsuya Naito turned 31. Also would have been the birthday of one-time WWF Tag Team Champion John Tenta. 51. No birthdays for June 23rd. Joey Styles revealed on Twitter that the WWE website crew is trying to come up with a name for the new tag team of Goldust and Stardust. He tweeted about it at WWE.com. Team is trying to create a name for Goldust and Stardust. And Cody Rhodes, WWE, Dust to Dust. Choice number 1, Gold Star. Choice number 2, Dustbusters. Or any other ideas. And that was over the weekend. Former WWE diva Maria Kanellis and her wrestler fiance Mike Bennett are in the latest episode of Running Errands in Hollywood with Oriana Leo seen this week. WWE has released several new entrance videos for superstars who have went through some changes lately. And notice that these are since they've been broken up as a tag team. Dean Ambrose, there's a link. Roman Reigns, a link. And Seth Rollins has their own link. I'll post them all right above each other. Former WWE and TNA superstar Elijah Burke, aka the Pope, D'Angelo Dinero, recently took some time to participate in an exclusive interview with PWMania.com. Burke talks about what he's been up to recently, his time in WWE, Vince McMahon, CM Punk, The Undertaker, Chris Benoit, TNA, what's next for him, and more. Check out the complete interview below, as I'm going to give you the highlights. First of all, thank you for the time to sit down with PW Mania, as they thanked him. What have you been up to recently? Just on the grid, Daddy. As you probably witnessed recently, me appearing on network TV shows here and there, attempting to land bigger roles in the near future on feature films. So it's one thing after another, but I'm always on the move to conquer my next goal. What has been the most satisfying moment of your career thus far? And what do you aspire to do in the future to top it? Well, he comments by saying, well, I think for any wrestler, for most satisfying moment would be appearing at WrestleMania, in which I believe I partook in, wrestling in front of the second largest crowd up until that point. And maybe to this guy, but I would think aside that my greatest moment was to wrestle one of my two childhood heroes, being Ric Flair on ECW. Words cannot describe that feeling. You were involved in working with the sheriff's office and getting your degree with honors in criminal justice. Were you always interested in the law, and did you think that might be your career long term when you were younger? No, I never thought it would be an officer. as I always thought I'd be a wrestler. So much so that I started practicing and signing my autographs in the 5th grade. It was at that time I started singing my name with a backwards E and went on to do the same once I started signing autographs as a wrestler. And then he was asked, you performed a couple of WrestleMania events. How different did you find it as a wrestler or performer from performing in the likes of WWE's ECW and OVW to then going in front of a reported 80,000 fans? He comments by saying it was absolutely crazy. It felt like time stood still. It was truly a dream come true. If you go back to that match, you may see me on the apron looking away from the ring, and I was simply taking it all in and thanking God for the opportunity that so many before me and many after may never have the chance to experience. And then he was asked, how was your time in WWE? Was it like meeting, what was it like meeting Vince McMahon for the first time? He comments by saying, Vince is great. He was one cool cat. Never had a bad experience with him. Anytime you walk up to the boss and say, what's up, dog, and give him some that should let you know what type of man he is. As a matter of fact, when he came out on ECW with the do-rag on after WrestleMania 23, take a wild guess who that do-rag belonged to. Are there any funny backstage ribs or stories you can share with our readers? And he comments, well, not really, as I never partook in any and certainly didn't want any done on me. But when you have a guy like The Undertaker who asked to take a look at a previous wound, sees it, then starts demanding that I go get it looked at ASAP because it's infected and it's not looking good. Well, let's just say I went into complete worry mode. Ha ha. You competed against Chris Benoit in the final match at SmackDown tapings before the Night of Champions in 2007. Just how big of a shock was it to the locker room on the night of the pay-per-view as everything was unfolding and afterwards? I don't know about that. I was kept from the pay-per-view for precaution as my back almost exploded from Benoit's flying headbutt. That precious Tuesday, Chris came from a different direction, which caused me to have to bring my knees above my head, which in turn raised my lower back off the mat and placed it all my weight on my shoulders and upper back. So when Chris landed on me, as solid as he was, it felt like my back exploded. I have no idea how I finished the match itself, as I couldn't walk once backstage and post a video of the last match. Former WWE diva Caitlyn and her bodybuilder fiance PJ Brown got married on Friday. This past week, Caitlyn wrote on Instagram that she wore a special pair of socks for every WWE pay-per-view at an important moment in her career and wore those same socks on her wedding day. On a related note, Caitlyn's Celestial Bodies fitness clothing line will launch on being on the video on Monday, launches today. The first season of The Legends House finished. WWE Network will be airing Total Divas on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They will begin this coming Thursday night with the very first episode of Total Divas. Next Saturday night's episode of Beyond the Ring on the WWE Network looks at wrestling legend Bobby Heenan. As noted, tonight's episode looks at WCCW. Below is a synopsis for Heenan's episode. He's the greatest manager in the history of sports entertainment. Relive the Brain's magnificent career in Bobby the Brain Heenan. While they are already married, WWE diva Eva Marie and Jonathan Coyle will have their official wedding ceremony soon. Eva posted photos of herself shopping for wedding dresses on Friday, and Coyle was getting fitted for a tuxedo. Total Divas cameras were there, so it will likely air on the next season. With filming for the next season of Total Divas underway, it will be interesting to see how WWE uses the new cast member Rosa Mendez more on TV. We've noticed she's worked more live events matches lately with some of the Total Diva stars and is booked against Nikki Bella over this past weekend. WWE just released a new entrance video for Rosa. And this link. Number 1 contender Tyler Breeze appeared for an in-ring segment at the previous over the weekend live NXT event in Lakeland, Florida, and is still wearing a split on his finger. The new Legends of Wrestling that airs on WWE Network next Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time features good old JR in the panel talking about the territory days of pro wrestling. Congratulations to Edge and Christian as they were inducted into the Orangeville Sports Hall of Fame in Orangeville, Ontario, Canada. Back on May 22nd, they both grew up in Orangeville. It appears Edge didn't attend the induction dinner as he wasn't included in a photo with the rest of the 2014 inductees. It was announced today that New Japan Pro Wrestling will be working with Jeff Jarrett's Global Force Wrestling promotion. The Blake and Sal show with guest Mario Cavello from Great Lakes Championship Wrestling. Hosted by Blake Riley and Sal Costa. Interview available at blakeandsalshow.com. On the experience backstage, it was awesome. Like I didn't know if I was at the right level of excitement. I thought maybe I was too excited, but when I saw that everyone was excited, I was like, yeah, it's okay to be in awe on who he and the other Rosebuds had to answer to. We're answering to maybe the referees. Yeah, you'd be surprised how much knowledge and the authority the referees have. But once you start to pick up on that, you realize why. The referees know the rules and they understand TV time. It's weird to think about. But once you understand the referee's real role in a match and on TV, you think, oh yeah, that makes sense. Why we would answer to a lot of referees. Any comments on working with Adam Rose? It was cool. You worry about wrestlers giving you the cold shoulder, but he was really cool to work with. Mario also discussed getting pulled from Raw to Superstars, being able to be around the agents like Road Dogg and Fit Finley, working with Summer Rae on SmackDown, being around guys like Dean Ambrose, who he wrestled on the Independents, and in comparison to Ring of Honor Silas Young. Don Green, who was part of the legendary tag team The Heavenly Bodies with Al Green from 1969 to 1971, recently passed away on June 21st. The tag team was very popular back in Tennessee region under promoter Nick Goulas. Don briefly formed a new version of the tag team with WWE Hall of Famer Jerry the King Lawler, briefly in Georgia. And thanks to the source of Wrestling Observer 54 Online for that news. Former WWE star Drew McIntyre is booked to appear at FWE events on October 3rd and 4th in Brooklyn, New York, his first official wrestling booking since his release from WWE last week. FWE confirmed the bookings on Twitter. If you don't know, they have that 90-day no-compete clause. Big Show will be off WWE television to begin filming the new WWE Studios project, Vendetta. He wasn't being used in a significant role as of late in WWE's, as they know he would be needing to take some time off for the film. Big Show's last appearance was on the June 6th SmackDown against Randy Orton in Cincinnati. Former WWE star Evan Bourne, aka Matt Seidel, by Twitter dropping a hint that he was at the location of Ring of Honor's Best in the World pay-per-view in Tennessee State Fairgrounds. And you can be sure, as I've already posted the Ring of Honor results for the pay-per-view, and yes, he was backstage. One of the Los Matadors appeared to have suffered a knee injury at Sunday's live event in Newark, Delaware, during a six-man tag match. He was taken to the back by medics, and the rest of the match seemed out of place, according to a correspondent. Two other correspondents have sent word that either Fernando or Diego were seen after the show with his knee taped up and on crutches. We'll have I've got some more updates later on, just briefly on which member it was. And here's what happened as a report. Another report has sent in some results. One of the Los Matadors, since they're under a mask, they couldn't see which one it was, but I went to WWE.com and they posted the news. What appeared to be a serious knee injury at Sunday's live event in Newark, Delaware. After he went down, the referee threw up the dreaded X symbol, and WWE medical staff came out. The rest of the match was said to be in panic and very rushed. Not sure if it was Fernando or Diego yet, but they were taken to the back with the rest of the participants in the match looking on concerned. On a related note, the match that this happened in was El Torito and Los Matadors versus Heath Slater, Horace Waggle, and Tyson Kidd. I guess this is the new 3MB. Kidd has been playing the comedy role with Slater lately, and as well as Horace Waggle as the new 3MB. For this weekend's events, Damian Sandow played the role last weekend. WWE's website has confirmed that it is none other than Fernando of the Los Matadors suffered an ankle and knee injury at the live event in Newark, Delaware. Fernando was splinted and taken to a local emergency room for precautionary reasons. According to WWE trainer Larry Heck, he underwent x-rays to determine the nature of his injuries, and after reviewing the x-rays on today, WWE physician Dr. Chris Amann was able to confirm a diagnosis. As Amann said, fortunately there are no fractures. However, he has a pretty significant left ankle sprain, as well as a sprain of one of the ligaments of the knee. We put him in a boot. He's on crutches, and we expect to see him back in 3 to 4 weeks. Amann also added that Fernando would be undergoing rehab at the WWE Performance Center in Orlando. And an update from earlier, like I just said, it was Fernando Epico who suffered a knee injury at the live event in Newark, Delaware. He was on crutches after the show, as many fans have reported. There's a report that a former TNA knockout, Thea Trinidad, unknown what character she's portraying, formerly from TNA, she played as Rosita. She was on the road with WWE this weekend, working as a rosebud for the Northeast live events. She's scheduled to work this week's TV tapings as well. Apparently, John Cena is in line to win the WWE prediction heavyweight title at this Sunday's Money in the Bank pay-per-view. It was previously reported that word from within WWE is that a heel would be leaving Money in the Bank with the title. During Monday's Raw, it appeared that they may be grooming Roman Reigns for the title as they had him work this way into the match. But that may not be the case, as it's likely too soon for Reigns to have a title run. If they're going to do this, I would say if Cena wins, well, the person that wins the second Money in the Bank automatically catches in and beats Cena for the title. Would be the smart thing to do. Out of recently released WWE superstars, they said that Evan Bourne, Kurt Hawkins, and JTG, because of the Crime Time reunion with Shad Gaspard, are getting the most inquiries for indie bookings. Yes, Crime Time has reappeared in the indie theme, still under Crime Time, but they changed their name just a little bit. Within WWE, it was spelled CRYME. Well, it's actually spelled the correct way in their in the event, CRIME, Crime Time. Scott Hall managed his son Cody Hall at June 7th Northeast Wrestling event in Ansonia, Connecticut. Apparently there were problems and the Halls aren't welcome back. New promoter Michael Bryan said the following: Scott Hall was his old self. He worked for the group a week ago, not in his physical condition, but a real cocky asshole. You give everyone a shot, safe to say you won't be seeing me book him for him or his dangerous green son again. Noted before that Scott Hall was 90 minutes late to a signing this weekend in Providence and showed up in very rough shape. It should also be noted that another fan emailed us and noted that Hall did stay an extra 2 hours past the time he was advertised for. That same fan added that the Hall of Famer did appear to be messed up or on something. As I will post a photo of that, another fan who met Hall at the convention this weekend said he got an impression that Hall was sober, but just being rude to some fans. As noted earlier, JR is currently in Los Angeles filming a role in a comedy movie that has pro wrestling elements to it. Ross tweeted the following update today. First day on set to film scenes for What Now? I'm playing a butthole of a boss, which some will say is art intimidating life. Imitating life. And wears a hat too. There's talk that NXT's Solomon Crow may be repackaged again before being bought to WWE TV. As I noted, I believe it was last week, Tessa Blanchard, the daughter of WWE Hall of Famer Tully Blanchard, had a recent tryout with WWE at a recent taping in North Carolina. Blanchard had her official in-ring debut 2 weekends ago for the Queens of Combat promotion in Charlotte. Her stepfather, wrestling legend Magnum TA, was also in attendance for her debut. Another negative report on 2014 WWE Hall of Famer Scott Hall has came in this weekend. Hall was reportedly in rough shape and was 90 minutes late for the autograph signing. As Hall posted a photo of himself from the picture earlier that I posted with WWE stars. Also in the picture, Curtis Axel, Bad News Barrett, and Fandango hanging out at what looked like a hotel in Providence, Rhode Island this past weekend where WWE had a live event and Hall was in town for a signing. WWE NXT star Corey Graves has been off WWE NXT TV lately and live events because he suffered a second concussion. TMZ has picked up on former WWE stars JTG and Chad Gaspard reuniting on the Indies, as I already stated just a few minutes ago. Prime time, just a bit different from their prime time name in WWE. As JTG admitted that he had been preparing for his WWE release for some time, and also video. This time I'll post a video link for the video. Stephanie McMahon, R-Truth, Dolph Ziggler, and WWE Divas champion Paige met with injured soldiers in Washington, D.C. today, thanks to the USO, United Service Organization. And here's another video of Jared Young talking to his pets about his upcoming return from injury. WWE Hall of Famer Bret Hart is being advertised to appear at July 7th Raw from Bell Center in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And the dark main event for that evening is John Cena, Roman Reigns, and Dean Ambrose versus Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, and Bray Wyatt. Triple H and Kane are also advertised as well. WWE will announce the other 6 participants for the Money in the Bank ladder match on tonight's Raw. They have a new poll asking the fans which other stars they want to see in the match. Kane, Dolph Ziggler, Big E, Jack Swagger, Adam Rose, Bo Dallas, Fandango, R-Truth, Kobe Kingston, Dean Ambrose, Bad News Barrett, or Rusev. With over 2,000 votes casted, 43% had voted for Ambrose. The next closest is Ziggler with 14%, and the other with only 7%. And there was a vote in their other votes. The other ones. IWF Wrestling School graduates Carson Slade and Corey Havoc will be working as extras for WWE at their TV tapings this week. Possibly as Rosebuds. Ring of Honor's Kevin Steen announced that last night's pay-per-view. Well, being that it's still Monday night. He has another month and a half left on his Ring of Honor contract, and at last word, he's still expected to debut in WWE developmental before the summer is over. If he passes all the pre-signing tests. WWE announced that Daniel Bryan will appear on the Money in the Bank kickoff show on Sunday. Check it out 30 minutes prior to the event, which is 7 o'clock, which will be the pre-show starts at 6:30 Central Time. The hype that Daniel Bryan would address the fact that he was stripped of the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. He was hoping he acts a little more upset by this development than he did in the online video that WWE released a while back, when he made it seem like it was no big deal if they decided to strip him of the title or not. The following live notes from the WWE pre-Raw show from tonight that was airing on the broadcast on the network. Josh Matthews hosted a panel that featured Booker T, Alex Riley, and Santino Marella. It was announced that Stephanie McMahon will address Vickie Guerrero on Raw. In a rematch from SmackDown, there will be a handicap match, which is tag team with John Cena, Roman Reigns, and Sheamus versus Bray Wyatt, Cesaro, Randy Orton, and Alberto Del Rio. In the ring, Adam Rose defeated Heath Slater in a match taped for superstars. Forrest Hogg was in the corner of Slater, and Rose had his rosebuds. It was Money in the Bank Championship match prediction. Booker picked Orton. Riley picked Del Rio. Both men lost all credibility with 95% of the viewing audience. Santino said he didn't know if Bray Wyatt was afraid of heights. Booker said he never won a ladder match or a cage match during his career because he felt out of his comfort zone. The other superstars match was Ryback and Curtis Axel versus R-Truth and Xavier Woods. Backstage, Renee Young informed Vickie Guerrero that Stephanie McMahon will start Raw. Vickie thought that was great. Young informed her that Stephanie would be addressing her, and Vickie didn't think that was so great. Bad News Barrett defends the coveted Intercontinental Championship against Dolph Ziggler on Raw. Was advertised, and the Raw broadcast team made their entrance for Raw as the panel spoke to close the show. And here's the full results of Superstar taping was very brief. Adam Rose defeated Heath Slater. Ryback and Curtis Axel defeated R-Truth and Xavier Woods. Raw from the USA Network, live from Washington, D.C. at the Verizon Center. Michael Cole Saul welcomes the viewers to Raw episode number 1100. He was joined on commentary by JBL and Jerry the King Lawler. Stephanie McMahon made her entrance as highlights were shown of Roman Reigns winning the Battle Royal to earn a fight in the Money in the Bank match for the WWE Heavyweight Championship. Stephanie said one thing that she cannot tolerate as part of her position is gross negligence. She said Vickie Guerrero couldn't even get her a simple cup of coffee. Stephanie called for Vickie to come up out to face the consequences as Vickie walked up to the ring without entrance music. There were ladders set up for the entryway and at ringside for the Money in the Bank theme. Once in the ring, Vickie sucked up to Stephanie. As she said she's always had the company's best interest in mind. She said Roman Reigns put something in Stephanie's coffee last week. Stephanie said that was Vickie's biggest failure to date. Stephanie recalled that she and Triple H gave Vickie simple instructions not to allow Reigns into the Battle Royal. Stephanie noted that Reigns not only competed, but he won the match and now has a spot in the Money in the Bank ladder match for the title. That is on you, Stephanie said. Vickie then apologized and said it won't happen again. You're damn right it won't happen again, Stephanie said. Vickie, for 9 years you've been riding the coattails of your late husband, Eddie Guerrero, Stephanie said. We took pity on you. We couldn't make you a diva, so we allowed you to be a general manager. But quite frankly, you couldn't even do that right. Fans started chanting for Eddie. Stephanie said Eddie might deserve that respect, but Vickie does not. Stephanie started to say, you're fired, but Vickie cut her off and said she would do anything, including begging to keep her job. Stephanie told Vickie to show her how much she wants it by begging and then telling her to get on her knees. Vickie got on her knees and apologized repeatedly. Stephanie told Vickie that she was pathetic. You can't even do that right. You can't even do that right, Vickie. She then said she was like a cockroach or a Twinkie that she can't get rid of or won't expire. Stephanie said that she would either fire Vickie or keep her as the general manager of SmackDown if she won her match. Vicky said that she's not a competitor, but then asked who her opponent would be. Stephanie then said that was the best part. Your opponent is me. Stephanie said. The fans popped big for the yes orgasm chant breaking out. Stephanie said Vicky doesn't have the guts. Vicky said that there was one name in the industry that people respect more than the McMahon family, and that is a grotto. Vicky said Eddie taught her how to lie, cheat, and steal. The fans rallied behind Vicky then. Pulsar announced that Triple H will appear later in the show to announce the names of the other Money in the Bank contract match participants. Lawler hyped Bad News Barrett versus Dolph Ziggler for the Intercontinental title. Then Pulsar hyped John Cena, Roman Reigns, and Sheamus versus Bray Wyatt, Cesaro, and Randy Orton, along with Alberto Del Rio in a handicap match. 4 versus 3 is the main event as they go to commercial. A fun opening segment with Stephanie laying it on thick and Vicky finally standing up for herself at the end. Say what you will say about the Authority being all over television, but this is the live crowd that loved the idea of Stephanie versus Vicky when it was announced. It's stunt style booking and there's nothing wrong with that if it keeps viewers watching the Go Home show. A graphic boasted that SmackDown was the #1 show on cable for Friday. Match number 1, Luke Harper with Eric Rowan versus Jimmy Uso. This was basically a squash match. Harper and Rowan entered into an organ and accordion version of he's got the whole world in his hands with no vocals. Harper dominated the match and finished off Uso with a wicked clothesline. After the match, Jey Uso challenged Rowan to a match, then dove on to both Wyatt after the match over the top rope on the outside. So, like I said, squash them in 1 minute 35 seconds. I'm not digging the new entrance music at all. I wonder if the idea is to give the team their own music and keep the usual theme exclusively to Bray Wyatt, or when they work as a trio. The new theme is more obnoxious and creepy. Obviously, it makes sense for one of the challengers to go over strong. Heading into the title match on Sunday, let's see what they do with the other match that appears to be coming after the break. Match number 2. Jey Uso with Jimmy in his corner versus Eric Rowan with Luke Harper. Harper was dominant early on, but Jey came back with a top rope splash for the clean win after his brother took out Harper at ringside. After the match, Rowan and Harper worked over the Usos and left them lying. Harper and Rowan picked up the tag title belts and posed with them afterwards. Bray Wyatt appeared on the big screen and said he's so very proud of you boys, and then delivered a promo. Well, Jey Uso defeated Eric Rowan in 1 minute 55 seconds. Jey went over, but the challenger stood tall and in good height from JBL, who kept talking about how all hell is going to break loose when the two teams meet on Sunday night. Well, we get a commercial break as the broadcast team announces that Daniel Bryan will appear on the Money in the Bank kickoff special to address being stripped of the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. A great addition to the lineup, though I'm surprised that it's not being saved for the actual pay-per-view. They did indicate that the kickoff special would be available on social media platforms again, so it's not like Bryan's appearance will be exclusive to the network. Footage aired of Rusev and Lana standing in front of the White House. Since they're in Washington, D.C., Lana delivered her usual pro-Russia shtick. Match number 3, Naomi versus Alicia Fox. Paige and Cameron sat in on commentary and bickered back and forth. Cameron said that she would dance all over everyone, including Naomi, to get the Divas Championship. Pulsar told Cameron that she was acting like she does on Total Divas, and it's no surprise that she doesn't have very many friends. In the end, Naomi hit a reverse DDT type move for the win. Afterwards, Naomi smiled and pointed at Paige, who was standing at this point. Paige held up her title belt and then stood up on the apron, shook hands with Naomi, and that was it. Naomi won a 5-minute match over Alicia Fox. The in-ring action looked good when we actually saw it. The cameras were focused mainly on the broadcast table more than they needed to be. We can hear WWE. Backstage, Sheamus and Roman Reigns spoke about the handicap main event. Sheamus said he still remembered when the Shield were looking for any excuse to attack him or any else in WWE. Reigns told him that if he wanted to stab him in the back, he would be unconscious right now. Sheamus laughed and he said that it would be magical when he walks away with the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Reigns said he doesn't believe in magic. He believes in himself. Let's go to commercial. A simple and effective way to build up some tension between the two baby faces heading into the Money in the Bank match and tonight's main event. Footage aired from SmackDown of Adam Rose beating Titus O'Neil twice. Match number 4, Bo Dallas versus Titus O'Neil. Before the match, Bo told Titus that he fell off his horse on SmackDown, yet proved that winning isn't everything. All you have to do is believe. There was a loud "Let's Go Bo" chant from a group of fans when the match started. Colson noted that Bo had a black eye. I noticed that myself. Well, Dallas hit the Bulldog for the win. It was a very quick 1 minute and 10-second match. As Dallas said, I'm 9 Bo. 9 and Bo. Titus knocked the mic away from him. Bo called himself Butterfingers, then thanked the fans, and then said, "Don't stop Bo leaving." So Titus as Dallas concluded. And Dallas catching on with the adult male crowd. Is Dallas catching on with the adult male crowd? It was only one group of fans at the show. But really surprised that more online fans haven't embraced the character yet. Colton hyped Triple H announcing the names of the Money in the Bank briefcase match participants 4 after the break. After the break, Triple H made his entrance. Once in the ring, he said that while elected politicians in D.C. make the country worse, he is still the bad guy when he goes there. He said he's about doing what's best for business. This is why they are having the Money in the Bank contract match. Hunter explained the concept and said it virtually guarantees the contract holder the ability to write their own future. Hunter revealed the 6 wrestlers who will join Seth Rollins in the Money in the Bank contract match. Kofi Kingston, Jack Swagger, Dolph Ziggler, Rob Van Dam, Thaddeus Barrett. And then before introducing Dolph Ziggler, Hunter noted that a lot of people don't think he appreciates his talent, but he does, which is why he's in the match. So he got 6, and then Seth Rollins was, like I said, 6. Hunter introduced Seth Rollins as a man he knows will face Money in the Bank contract. Just before he did that, he teased that he was going to be talking about RVD. Well, changed the mind into Seth Rollins. Rollins came out wearing black tights and a gray t-shirt, very similar to what he wore on SmackDown, with black gloves. Rollins played to the light. You sold out chants from the mocking fans for not being over it yet. I'm over it. I've moved on, as Rollins said. He took credit for the success of Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose. He said he took the Shield as high as it could go and has every right to destroy it. Rollins was about to dub himself Mr. Money in the Bank when RVD's music interrupted him. RVD played on Hunter, mocking the idea of him winning in his promo by saying he gets the feeling that they don't take him seriously. Rollins said he would take him more seriously if it were 2005. RVD then said it's also the year that Rollins was asking his mom and dad to stay up late to watch him on TV because he wanted to be a wrestler. I thought that was real funny myself. RVD threw out the idea of being Hunter's new golden boy on the spot. Hunter agreed to the match. After Seth Rollins begged Triple H to give him a match. Strong segment. Hunter's introduction of the various talent was interesting, as was the fact that there are only 6 entrances, even though the graphic was shown 7 spots. Are they saving one more for Dean Ambrose sneaking into the match like Roman Reigns did? Well, stay tuned. Seth Rollins with Triple H versus Rob Van Dam was up next. RVD got off to a quick start and was in control of the offense heading into a commercial break. Rollins was in control after the break. By the way, the yellow Money in the Bank briefcase is hanging above the ring. RVD made his comeback and hit a good tornado DDT as RVD tried to follow up with a Possum Fox splash. Rollins moved out of the way as Rollins threw some punches to the head of RVD and then hit him with a buckle bomb and then a curve stomp. Dean Ambrose hit the ring and attacked Rollins for the apparent disqualification. So Seth Rollins won that match by disqualification. Ambrose backed off at the request of the referees briefly, then ran at Rollins and threw up more punches at him until he was pulled off after the match. Ambrose said that they should put him in the Money in the Bank match because he will show up and take the briefcase and screw up the entire pay-per-view if they don't include him. So Rollins won in a 10-minute match by disqualification. Broadcast team hyping the upcoming segments before they go to commercial. An entertaining match. It was nice to hear RVD get some mic time. Granted, he's never been a great talker, but he felt like more of a star during that exchange than he has ever. This is returning from his current run. I like the new look for Rollins. He looks like his own man. The only real negative is that he doesn't mesh with the authority as that the authority has told us about what they look for in their hand-picked talent. Ambrose was great, and I love the way he keeps going after Rollins and is now threatening to ruin the pay-per-view if he doesn't get his way. Doesn't that seem like another former talent? CM Punk. Backstage, Rollins pleaded with Triple H to put Dean Ambrose in the Money in the Bank match. He said he wants him where he can see him and didn't want to be inches away from winning, only to have Ambrose show up. Triple H told Rollins that it's on him if it blows up in his face. Rollins intentionally told Hunter that he had this. Hunter patted him on the back, told him like he liked his confidence, and added Ambrose to the match. The broadcast team questioned whether they just played into Ambrose's hands. Bad News Barrett made his entrance and cut a promo on his way to the ring. Barrett said that Ziggler would be so embarrassed that he'd be forced to change his name, just like your racist, constantly losing NFL team. As they go to commercial break, before anyone complains about the way Ambrose was added to the match, please keep in mind that Roman Reigns was added following a vomit gag. I do wish WWE would work a little harder to make it so obvious. Would it have been that hard to come up with a graphic that showed 6 Money in the Bank contract match participants? Meanwhile, Barrett just delivered the greatest line in the history of his bad news bit. And that's coming from someone who isn't all caught up in the name debate. Match number 6 of Raw. Bad News Barrett versus Dolph Ziggler for the Intercontinental title. Justin Roberts delivered the in-ring introductions for the title match. Then there was a cool graphic for the Intercontinental title that was shown beforehand. Barrett wins the chains for a 2 count, 2 minutes 40 seconds in. Ziggler came back with a zigzag, but he came up selling a shoulder injury, allowing Barrett to roll to the floor, heading into another commercial break. After the break, Barrett regained control and caught Dolph pressing off the ropes with a kick, which led to a 2 count. Barrett got to the ropes, but Ziggler caught him with a top rope face buster. There was "This is awesome" chant that broke out from the crowd. Apparently this is a match of the evening. Barrett set up for the bull hammer, but Ziggler avoided it and hit the Famouser for a good near fall that could have been a little better if Barrett waited just a hair longer to kick out. Ziggler scored another near fall, then ran into the bull hammer out in the corner, which resulted in Barrett getting the win. And the match took 11 minutes 30 seconds. Backstage, Renee Young approached Vicky Guerrero and said she has no regrets about what she's done. Randy Orton approached Vicky and said that she will regret putting Roman Reigns in the Battle Royal. Orton said Vicky will get exactly what she deserves. Orton said that he would say that it was nice knowing Vicky, but they both know that would be a lie. Lawler hyped Stephanie versus Vicky after the break. A good match, and not just by television standards. The near falls were believable, and the fans were really into the action. I love the way the Ziggler spat out his gum when he was hit with a bull hammer. The fella looked like a tooth broke at the end of the match. We don't see title matches on television as much as we do anymore, which is a good thing. That being said, WWE would be wise to make it seem truly special when there is a title match, making a huge fuss over it that may have been out of place on paper if it were in the Raw main event, simply because both men have lost too much lately. But if they show enough discipline there, and there would be no reason an Intercontinental title match can't headline Raw in the near future. By the way, there will be a 1 hour special with WWE and a Special Olympics that will air next week on Fox Sports 1 in the hour leading up to Raw next week. The featured main event on Raw, on the WWE main event, will be Dolph Ziggler, Kofi Kingston, and Rob Van Dam versus Seth Rollins and Patrice Barrett and Jack Swagger in a 6-man tag match. Finally, we get Vicky Guerrero entered to Eddie Guerrero's old entrance theme, Viva la Raza, footage aired of how Vicky versus Stephanie McMahon. McMahon match was set up from earlier in the show. Stephanie came out and said their match would take place over here. Since Vicky's already in the ring, Stephanie pointed to a pool of slot that was set up. That's nothing more than mud. That was set up next to the stage. Stephanie called out the ladies, which was none other than Layla, Rosa, and Alicia Fox walking up to the ring and surrounded Vicky. Well, there's no official match, so this match wasn't even in the ring, didn't even ring at all. As they surrounded Vicky in the ring, she rolled out of the ring to avoid them. Stephanie was walking up the ramp. Stephanie acted upset when the trio of divas grabbed Vicky. However, Vicky broke face and shoved Rosa into the slot, breaking free of all three of them. Then dodged a charging Layla. She ended up in the mud, who dove into the slot. Alicia grabbed Vicky from behind, but Vicky spun her around in a counter and threw her in the mud. So all three of them are in the mud. Vicky celebrates, only to have Stephanie kick her from behind, and she ends up in the mud. And we get, yes, Vicky, you're fired. Because of the rules of the match, if you get thrown in the mud, you lose the match. She encourages the fans to sing the goodbye song, na 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 goodbye. Stephanie kept singing until Vicky stared at her, and she realizes she was near the pool, and you should consider your retirement, Stephanie said. Vicky grabbed Stephanie and threw her into the pool. Michael, go help Stephanie, as JBL shouted. Well, we get a referee coming in. Vicky walked up to the stage and did the Eddie shimmy as his music played. Vicky blew a kiss to the fans and headed backstage. Stephanie hammed it up while trying to escape the pool. The broadcast team hyped the handicap match main event. For those wondering, no, Vicky is not a budget cut. I was told that she moved to Houston and is going back to school, and that her departure has been in the works for some time. In related news, I stopped going to the old country buffet over a decade ago after consuming a pool worth of pudding. Broadcast team spoke about the debut of Stardust and aired highlights. Meanwhile, Coleslaw was wearing a suit and tie that looked like something your grandmother would buy you at a deceased 90-year-old man's estate sale. Backstage, Byron Saxton tried to interview Goldust. Stardust walked in singing, "When you wish upon a star." Now I'm the normal one, Goldust said. That was terrible singing, just as bad as my singing. And my singing was just a little bit better. Jack Swagger with Zeb Coulter versus Kofi Kingston. There was an awkward spot at 2 minutes 30 seconds in where Kingston leapt off the top ropes and onto Swagger and then tumbled to the mat. They recovered quickly, but the referee checked on Swagger. Kingston went up to the top, back again, went for a crossbody spot. Swagger caught him, and Swagger had a bloody nose from the bad spot. I didn't even see where he got scratched or anything. A short time later, Swagger applied the Patriot lock. Kingston reached for the ropes, but Swagger pulled him back in, and he got the tap out victory. Also, I announced Paige versus Naomi for the Divas Championship at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. I'm not sure whether Swagger's nose injury occurred during the botch spot or when Kofi dove onto him at ringside at one point. Ouch! Paige and Naomi worked nice together on the main event last week, and considering the limited number of advertised pay-per-view matches, they might actually get a decent amount of time on Sunday. They put on a bunch of filler matches from the SmackDown tapings that will be taped tomorrow evening. Backstage, Renee Young was about to conduct an interview when she was interrupted by Alberto Del Rio. Young said he's not exactly who she was expecting. Del Rio said that he would walk out the new champion on Sunday. Cesaro and Paul Heyman showed up. Heyman included the usual line about Brock Lesnar conquering Undertaker's streak at WrestleMania. Heyman said he would be the one behind the one who will climb the ladder match and become the World Heavyweight Champion. Del Rio asked Cesaro if ever Cesaro ever talks or if he's Heyman's little puppet. Cesaro said he would talk to Del Rio, but he only speaks 5 languages and none of them are loser. Del Rio got upset and Heyman pulled Cesaro away as they go to commercial close to hype. Sheamus versus Bray Wyatt for Friday SmackDown tapings. Damien Sandow dressed up as Abraham Lincoln and said he would rather spend another night in Ford Theater than allow all the simpletons dictate his career. He was then interrupted by Big E's entrance music. Well, this was he gave his own promo as well. Big E versus Damien Sandow. He performed a belly-to-belly suplex on Sandow and then performed a Big Andy for the win. Coleslaw snuck in a jab that Vince McMahon would love about President Obama's approval rating. He started talking before on the promo. He gave a kind of like, well, you know, this I got to do it type of speech. I got to beat your ass type of a moment. Big E versus, or he gave the results of that, and then it only took 55 seconds for him to win the match. Come on, Big E, the man abolished slavery. Don't beat him up too bad. Afterwards, he brought up Lana and Rusev's video package. He went into all picture mode, like I was just saying. So he did a promo about Rusev. Well, just as he finished from that, as he talked about how it's the land of the free and the home of the brave. As Rusev and Lana came out, well, Lana came out from the stage. Rusev crushed him from behind and then put him in accolade. Lawler hyped the handicap match tag. Main event for after the break. And there was a graphic about Total Divas and Teen Choice Awards, which is downright disturbing. The technical glitch that I've been ignoring got a lot worse during the break. Renee Young interviewed. Yeah, my TV kind of had some glitches in it myself. The technical glitches issues made it incomprehensible. Ring entrances for the main event took place. Introductions and technical issues continued. The glitch ended when Alberto Del Rio made his entrance. Randy Orton made his entrance. Commercial break. John Cena, Roman Reigns, and Sheamus versus Bray Wyatt, Cesaro, Alberto Del Rio, and Randy Orton in a handicap tag match. Couple of minutes in, Cesaro hit a nice backbreaker on Cena. The heels then isolated Cena in the corner, starting with a very weird for Michael Cole. Bray Wyatt working him over as they go to another commercial break. As it goes past the 10 o'clock hour, Cena made a hot tag to Reigns, who had a flurry of crowd-pleasing offense. He set up for a spear on Del Rio, but turned it into a Superman punch on Cesaro. When he tried to interfere, Del Rio cut off Reigns and tagged in Wyatt. Later, Sheamus hit the road kick on Cesaro and pinned him. John Cena, Roman Reigns, and Sheamus defeated Bray Wyatt, Cesaro, and Alberto Del Rio and Randy Orton in a handicap match in 15 minutes. After the match, Kane's music hit, and he came to the ring and attacked everyone he could get his hands on. Kane choked Sam baby faces and heels while the announcers questioned what's happening. Then Triple H's music played and he walked onto the stage, where Randy Orton was also awaiting. Hunter named Kane as the eighth participant in the Money in the Bank match. But my thing is, which Money in the Bank is it? Because there was 7 in one, 7 in the other. Kane did his arm pump bit, and the pyro goes off. But then he was speared by Roman Reigns, who glared at Hunter and Orton. A good close to a strong addition of Raw. The addition of Kane doesn't do much for me, but younger viewers may see him and Orton as a big threat since they play for the same team. Raw succeeded in delivering 3 hours of solid entertainment, and more importantly, as a go-home show for the pay-per-view. And I haven't seen any dark match main event results for this event, so if I get them, I'll post it on the SmackDown video. Thanks again for your time and efforts. Put up with my ranting and raving about this event. Thanks again. Peace out. God bless. See what might be. If you didn't know, you better call me, bro.